Hey everyone, how are we today? Just doing a quick all signs reading today. A bit of a different one today. We are going to be looking at, warning messages for you, things you need to sort of keep an eye on, prevention rather than waiting for that to happen, things that you can avoid in a negative way, that sort of stuff. All right. So, bit of warning messages. We've had recently. An earthquake here in my city that kind of woke me up in the middle of the night and everything. So I'm just sort of, it got me thinking that, sometimes it would be nice to have a little bit more warning when things are about to go a little bit crazy, a little bit hectic for us. So that's what we're trying to do for you today. Give you a little bit of warning before things go, haywire. So make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I do really appreciate that. And today we are going to be using the Fox Oracle cards. Okay, that is a new deck I have here, and Fox energy is always very mysterious, elusive, So I'm hoping we get some interesting messages coming through to sort of provide you some insight, some warning, of measures you may need to take to avoid things happening for you. I also have the Blackbird Lenormand today. All right. We will be doing the monthly readings for the weekly readings next week. So make sure you are subscribed so you can catch all of those for overlooking May. But as always, timestamps will be in the description box, and we're going to start ourselves off with Aries. Okay, Aries. Aries, anything Aries needs to be aware of, anything Aries needs to be warned about. Upcoming messages for Aries, warning for Aries. I nearly said the word Mary then, that's interesting. Aries. Warning messages for our Aries. What energy should Aries be aware of to avoid? Okay, so we firstly do have the fox's tail coming through here. So chasing your own tail a little bit is coming through straight away, Aries. Wielding your resources with finesse, a clever use of assets can overcome obstacles. So we do see, definitely a warning coming through here, a potential misuse of your assets, of your, the things that you have, your resources, your financial resources, your physical resources, those sorts of things, wielding those with finesse. So needing to be very thoughtful and considerate about, what we're doing. So this is the things like meal planning, making sure we're setting, financial budgets and grocery lists so we know exactly what we need to set aside for what, all that sort of stuff definitely coming through there. We have the subtle approach here as well. Influence with discretion. A gentle touch can achieve significant change. So being very subtle about the way that you approach things as well. That feels like, with other people. It's kind of like that quiet word with somebody here may actually, lead to the changes that you're wanting to see, rather than being very direct and confrontational with people at the moment. It's kind of telling you to avoid direct confrontation and to be a little bit, subtle with the way that you're approaching those things, and, gently kind of energy there. Clarifying this energy for you, Aries. What does Aries need to be warned about in order to avoid? What does Aries need to be warned about in order to avoid? So we do see wisdom definitely coming through here with the tree. So, being very smart, being very wise about the way that you approach things, being very mature about the way that you approach things, not letting your emotions take over. We have the moon there as well. So really, the best way to look after yourself is to not let your emotions take over too much, and be aware that, the emotional factors could come into play, if if we're not being smart and wise and um, branching out and trying things differently when it comes to approaching emotions, definitely coming through there as well. Overall, we do see the stars here as well. So maintaining hope and optimism that, all these issues can be resolved, even if you do end up having them. The best way to overcome things is to be very aware of the potential emotional components. uh, you know Trusting yourself and coming from a very mature perspective, emotionally, is really going to enable you to softly approach any situations. Being very wise with the way that you're, clever use can help, clever usage and thinking things through very carefully, preemptively, is definitely coming through for you here, Aries. So using your brain rather than your emotions. So preempting those emotional responses as well. So if we are sort of dealing with confrontational type stuff, the softly approach and really thinking about the potential emotional ramifications that direct confrontation could have. So we're wanting to kind of avoid that. That's the warning for you here, Aries, is that things could get very emotional, and if they were to get emotional, it may affect your dreams coming true, your wishes being granted, kind of thing. We want to avoid the emotional side of things. We want to be smart about the way we're approaching things at the moment. All right, but that's what we have for you. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Taurus. Don't mind me, my nose going crazy today. Taurus. Warning messages for Taurus. Okay, Taurus. Warning messages for our Taurus. How can, what does Taurus need to be warned of in order to avoid? What does Taurus need to be warned of in order to avoid? Firstly, we're seeing the clever approach. Okay, use wit and strategy to achieve your goals. Cleverness can outsmart adversity. So making sure we're relying on, thinking things through very, very clearly, and and really using our logic rather than our emotions. That does seem to already, you're only the second sign I'm doing, and it already does seem to be the theme of the day with these warnings is thinking things through, thinking before we're speaking, and doing the strategy approach rather than the impulsive emotional approach. Thinking things, thinking all the steps through before we actually start taking actions there. And we also have the fox's gaze. Look beyond the obvious. A disconcerting eye sees what others overlook. All right. So it's kind of thinking outside the square, needing to look beyond what's right there in front of your face. You need to be able to sort of, and that's the clever approach for you, is to, yes, this is the situation, but I need to sort of really try to take into consideration any external factors that might be going on, any underlying energy here, really, really sort of planning it out. If this changes, what would that do to the situation? If that changes, what change would that make? Making sure nothing is overlooked. And that's part of your strategy, is to attempt to see what's going on outside of what's right there in front of you, or what's right there being said to you. You need to sort of read between the lines and try to find the thing that is extra to that's not being said or shown, which easier said than done sometimes, I know. Taurus. What does Taurus need to be warned about in order to avoid? What does Taurus need to be warned about in order to avoid? Throwing a card out there. we have the mountain coming through. That was the one that just flew on out. So definitely needing, determination and perseverance to see you through this stage. Okay, so we are being warned about some obstacles, some blockages, some delays, some adversities that you are going to be facing. But you can outsmart those with just being very diligent, very, perseverant to definitely plan out the route that you're taking up this mountain before you start moving. If you were, a mountain climber, for example, you're not just going to, grab all your stuff and start climbing. You're going to look ahead and plan 5 steps ahead of where you're stepping. You're not just going to grab onto a rock and go for it. You're going to make sure that you're going to grab that rock, test it before you actually use it to pull yourself up. That kind of thing, being very clever, very planned out about the way that you're taking steps through these obstacles. We do see the clover coming through there. So good fortune does surround you with this. It's looking beyond the obvious and looking at the risks that you can take, or the risks that could be taken in this situation as well. It's kind of like a bit of a game of chance here, and that's part of planning things out carefully is understanding all the risks and all the chance. If I take this chance, what's the most likely outcomes? What's the outlier outcomes, and being prepared for those as well. But also we have the ring. So also considering, when it comes to facing adversities at the moment, Taurus, relying on your relationships, relying on the relationships that are around you that are reliable and strong, but also considering patterns, the patterns and, so it's, if I said, it's a game of chance, what does the pattern tell you about the most likely outcome from taking that chance? If you've done something 10 times, you know that it's very likely that that's going to happen the same way the 11th time as well. So that's a chance that is more likely to go that particular way. So really looking at the patterns, and if somebody else has approached this person in a certain way, what is the pattern of this person's behavior when they're approached in that way, and what is a pattern you may have seen that has worked in a different kind of a way. So being really smart and thinking about thinking outside the box, which does really involve watching the patterns. So especially with the clover there as well. The clover is the card of like gambling and things like that. And we all kind of know that, with gambling, there's certain patterns that can be sort of counted on, or, certain risks that are more likely to occur if a pattern is going a certain kind of a way. Like we all hear those old stories about, people get kicked out of the club for counting cards, and, people have, this one's won X amount of races, like a horse race, for example. This one's won X amount of races, and so therefore is more likely to win this race. And, taking all those things into account, looking at the patterns, looking at the data collected prior, and taking that all into configuration here. That is part of your clever approach. Okay, Taurus. So that's what we have for you. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements as well, see what's going on there. And we will move on over to our Geminis. Okay, make sure I've got the right timestamp there. Okay, Gemini. Warning messages for Gemini in order to avoid issues. Warning messages so Gemini can avoid any potential issues. What does Gemini need to know as a warning for prevention? The mystical guide coming through first here, Gemini. Seek the wisdom of the unseen. Intuition often leads to profound insights. All right, so trusting your intuition and trusting your gut instincts at the moment, very, very going to, guide you in the right direction. If your gut instinct is telling you don't go that way, don't go that way. If your gut instinct is saying maybe this day is a good day for this, then maybe it is. Really, really trusting that a little bit more at the moment because, and especially too, I'm picking up that for some of you, this mystical guide and seeking the wisdom of the unseen, it may actually be, I am picking up here for some of you, it's seeking the wisdom of the unseen, as in actual people that you can't physically see, because I'm picking that up as online. So you can't see who you're communicating to online sometimes, and it's like asking Google, asking a community forum, asking Reddit. For those sorts of answers that you're looking for, it may actually lead you to some very good insights to help guide you through any situations you're in. We also have the fox's footsteps. Follow in the quiet steps of the fox. Silence can be a powerful ally. So keeping silent at the moment, not telling everyone what you're up to, not telling everyone, really keeping it to yourself and keeping quiet on what's going on for you and the problems that you are facing. You're seeking guidance from your own intuition and from people that you can't see in your physical world. Okay, so that means to the people that you do see in your physical world, your friends, your family, your loved ones, silence can actually be a really good ally in this scenario. So it's kind of like sometimes it's better to say nothing than to say the thing. Because if what's that phrase? It's a certain phrase there. Like sometimes it's better to say nothing at all than to say the thing that is going to hurt somebody's feelings. I'm just getting little things there as well. Like does that age old. Oh, does my bum look big in this? And you're just like, your legs look great in those jeans. Silence about the bum will redirect. I'm kind of picking up on that. You're just not. Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry. Oh, let's go do this. Da da da. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I feel like that might be something some of you are saying this week. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Let's go do this. Da da da. You're just not saying anything at all. All right. Gemini. Guidance for Gemini to avoid any issues. Warning messages for our Geminis. Warnings in order to prevent problems for Gemini. This is interesting because we have the dog coming through first, which is the card of friendship, loyalties, understanding, compassion. I feel like it's kind of wanting us to say that sometimes the best way to show compassion is, once again, not saying anything at all, is the best form of compassion. We also have you in the middle here. So focusing back on yourself, and it's very interesting because the next card I have is the birds, which is gossip and chatter, rumors. So I do feel here that's part of why we're needing to zip it at the moment, Gemini, because if you are to say things at the moment, people are going to misunderstand. There's going to be like miscommunications, and people are going to like, it feels like it's specifically to do with not talking about a conversation that you have with somebody or something like that. So you're getting your advice from somewhere where no gossip, no rumors, no miscommunication can be spread about you, all right, or your friends in the situation. If you're loyal to your friends, you're going to make sure that there's no potential miscommunications where somebody might believe something that they hear or overhear, and it's just being very careful with our words, because being very aware, especially too, because I'm picking up here for some of you, like a joke getting taken out of context, like you're joking around with somebody, and then somebody overhears that, and then next thing you know, there's this crazy rumor going, but it was all just a silly joke. Um, but then all of a sudden people are looking at you funny, or looking at your friend funny. So if you want to be loyal to yourself, you need to be very, very aware of the conversations that you're involving yourself in at the moment. Not even lightheartedly saying things that may be misconstrued, or gossiped about, or anything along those lines. We're watching out for gossip and rumors at the moment. Um, they do seem to be very heavy potential energy around you, that people are going to, start gossiping about something that they heard, or things like that. So if you want to be loyal to yourself, and avoid any issues, and you want people to be understanding and compassionate of you, you do need to be very, very careful and very wise about, what and how much you're even saying at all. Silence can be a powerful ally. So sometimes saying nothing is better than, sometimes it's better to say nothing at all, is what's coming through there, Gemini. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Cancer. Okay, just picking up cards and making sure I've got your timestamp ready. Okay, so moving on over to Cancer. Cancer, warning messages for Cancer. What does Cancer need to be warned about in order to avoid potential issues? What does Cancer need to be warned about? The evasive path. Navigate through life's challenges with agility. Evasion can be a strategic move. I just had a similar message for Gemini, where sometimes saying nothing is better than saying the thing. Avoiding and evading the question sometimes is the smart play when it comes to, when people are asking you things. The example I did use is the age-old question of, does my butt look big in these jeans? And you're kind of like, oh, well, I really love the color of those jeans on you. That color is great on you. Let's go do this instead. I'm not talking about whether your butt looks big in those jeans or not. I'm just going to, evade the question, and I'm going to move us on to something else altogether. Strategy. All right. We also have the Guardian of the Threshold. Protecting your boundaries. Know when to let others in and when to keep them out. All right. So that kind of does let me know straight away. This is a very, like, I know it's not super clear with the pale card, but this is like a very pretty fox, this one. Protecting your boundaries. Know when to let others in and when to keep them out. I do feel as though this has got to do with something physical. I'm kind of picking up on, like, with the pretty factor there, I'm getting things like, like makeup and someone borrowing clothing and things like that. So protecting your boundaries means protecting your possessions a little bit as well. Like, because I am picking up here, for some reason, the makeup thing is coming through really strongly, because it's telling me that if someone borrows your makeup, like, for example, a lot of people don't kind of think about it like, oh yeah, just use this, whatever. I'll borrow this. It's an awesome color. But, like, for example, if you lend a lipstick to somebody, and they have a cold sore, and then you use that lipstick, there's a chance you can catch the cold sore from that. So it's just bringing me through messages about that for some reason. So just be very wary about your possessions as well. I'm just picking up specifically on needing to have boundaries around, what people are borrowing. And it's kind of, because it's kind of showing me too, like, someone drinking out of your cup, or, like, and it could just be things like at work, like having to protect your boundaries with your physical belongings, like, having to like that typical work issue of like, someone's stealing my food from the work fridge, that kind of thing. Um, so you are needing to protect your boundaries when it comes to not only yourself, but your physical possessions as well at the moment. Okay, Cancer. Warnings for Cancer. What does Cancer need to be warned about? Getting a lot of movement for you. Firstly, we have the tree coming through, but straight away that's saying sort of branching out. The phrase branching out. But once again, it's kind of branching out as in lending out. So don't be lending out your belongings. Um, you know, Once again, evasion can be a strategic move. So don't give your own belongings or lend out your own belongings. Maybe evading the topic by saying, "Oh, I'd be more than happy to come with you and show you where I got it." Things like that, rather than, so you've got your boundaries up and you are kind of evading them asking you directly, "Can I have that?" or "Can I borrow that?" You are kind of evading it by, pushing it in a different direction. Um, just some interesting things, like, because especially in the pushing in a different direction, we have the rider here. But the rider, especially when the next card is the ship, which is the travel card, all right, and then having the rider there as well, and especially that phrase branching out, um, and with the evasion, I'm getting like a warning here about something to do with physical travel, especially travel that is not travel that you would normally undertake. Okay, so if you normally drive a car to work, um, don't let this be the week that you decide to ride a bicycle. That sort of thing coming through here. Like, I feel like branching out may not be the best thing when it comes to transportation and travel. All right, so I want you to be very careful this week with transportation and travel as well. There may be the need for you to evade something, so you need to be, on guard when it comes to travel. All right, so once again, having very, very strong boundaries with what you will and will not do travel wise. So don't be jumping into brand new forms of travel that you've not, like, if you've never ridden a motorbike before, this is not the week to do that. All right, you need to have a boundary up. I don't know how to ride a motorbike, so I'm not going to. So you do need to have a strong boundary there, in order to evade. I'm also picking up here, and this is going to be super random, but I'm picking up here that, like, the evasion thing, it keeps coming up, and it keeps giving me like, evading the police, like a police chase. I don't feel like it's you, but I feel like there's a warning here about, about being strategic about yourself evading getting sort of caught in that. So just be very careful, and very aware, while you are traveling in the next week or so, Cancer. So that, if all of a sudden you do hear sirens in the distance, make sure you are prepared to pull over and let them pass, and all that sort of stuff. Make sure you are being very super vigilant, this week when it comes to, being aware when you're traveling, and making sure, especially those of you on public transport, that we do have a physical boundary around ourselves, so that we can evade any issues, that could potentially arise here. So I don't want to scare anyone with that particular message, but it feels as though it's not the week to branch out, and it's you do need to, have your boundaries up very, very firmly with lending. So especially with the transport things, there definitely no lending transportation to people. Not the week at all to be lending your car to somebody. Okay, definitely that's pretty clear. I think Cancer, evading the issue. No, you do not need to borrow my car this week. Thank you very much. I need it. Bye. So blame me, guys. Blame me. Say, Michelle said I'm not allowed to lend anything out this week, so you'll have to talk to her. Send them to me. All right. But you are more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will move on over to our Leos. Okay. Leo. What does Leo need to be warned about right now? Warning messages for Leo so that they can avoid trouble. What does Leo need warning messages about this week, please? I was wondering, like I was getting warning. Will that old movie? It's not even warning in the movie. It's danger. Will Robinson, danger. But it's coming out, warning, Will Robinson, warning. So it's like warning that if you don't heed the warning, there might be danger. Is what that's sort of telling me. Especially around someone called Will. Okay, whoever you are, Will, watch out. Firstly, we have the whispering voice coming through. Pay attention to the subtle clues. They often hold the key to understanding. So we're really paying attention to the small little things, the just the voice on the wind whispering, it's cold, don't get an extra jacket. Don't go that way today, Leo. A lot of the time that little voice that you hear, sometimes it's your intuition. So don't ignore it this week. Make sure you do listen to that. Pay attention to the subtle clues as well. So if you're, and I feel like for a lot of you here, the whispering voice, it's like some of you quite literally, because I'm getting wind coming through with that as well. So it's like if you hear the wind whistling, like if you're walking down the street and you're about to turn right, and you all of a sudden notice like this whispery, or the trees make a weird whisper, or the wind starts whistling, don't turn right, go the other way. All right, and it'll probably ease off as soon as you choose to go a different direction to whatever you're going. I feel as though there is going to be environmental clues this week as well. That's what that whispering voice is. It might even be you're walking down the street and you hear some random conversation. Oh, that was over. And there's something in that's, as it passes, you're like, oh, that's right. I forgot about, I need to turn around and go there. That kind of stuff. Just make sure you're paying attention to that stuff this week. It does feel like environmental clues around you this week. The solitary path. Embrace your independence. Sometimes the best insights come from solitude. All right, so if you're having trouble hearing that whispering little voice, follow the path where you're walking alone, if that makes sense. It may make sense to some of you later. That's weird because it's telling me about, I'm getting this walking. If you're walking this direction and you hear this whisper, go the other way. And then this is like literally has the word path, and it's like, walking a different path, choosing a different path, paying attention to, and that's another environmental clue for you as well. If you're like, okay, I'm going to turn right. Oh wow, there's that street seems really busy today. Okay, I'm gonna go left where it's not quite as busy. I'm going to take that direction. All right, so I do feel as though this is like a physical, environmental kind of warning for you, Leo, to take the choice that is quieter, more solitude based. Listen to the environmental factors around you. And once again, that whispering voice, like if there's lots of bird song down that direction, if there's lots of noise down that direction, you can hear machinery, go the other path. We want to go quiet. We want to go alone this week is the best choice for you. Okay. I just feel as though this is quite literally for some of you, this is literally you walking down the street, making choices about which way am I going to walk home? Which way am I walking to the shop? And this is how you guide yourself is, oh, look, that street's really busy, noisy, whatever. I'm going to go the other way. For some reason, it's important. Okay, Leo. Warning messages for Leo. Warning messages for Leo to avoid drama and issues this week, please. So interesting. We have the flowers coming through. Once again, just another environmental clue, I think, for a lot of you. The gifts you receive this week, follow the flowers. Paying attention to time, love, energy. Quite like giving time, love, energy to yourself. So once again, the solitude choice, where you have more time, you have more, love and energy for yourself by going that way. You get a nicer walk, a nicer view. You get some quiet time. You get to go and look at the, stop and smell the roses kind of thing coming through there. We have the house. This is quite a straightforward message. So the environment, the flowers, guide you to safety, keep you safe, keep you secure. Listen to the fox. Listen to the foxes. So, it's not even telling me any of the traditional messages for the fox here, other than listen to what the fox messages have said. So that's pretty straightforward, telling me that we've already got your message out for you this week, Leo. But you are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Virgos. Okay, Virgo, warning messages for Virgo. What does Virgo need to be warned about this week to avoid any issues? Ooh, Virgo, I just broke a nail. So, warning, Virgo, you might break a nail this week. That's actually bringing forth another message too, because I used to say to people a lot that you never understand what somebody else is going through, okay? For your situation and what's going on for you, that might feel like the worst thing in the universe. Somebody else might break a nail and that's the worst thing in their universe that week. But that doesn't mean that it's not any less traumatic to them, because maybe when they lost that nail, maybe it was, a brand new set that only just got and it broke, and it now they've got to go back and get it fixed up, and they don't have any money left. They spent their last money on treating themselves to that set, and so maybe that nail breaking is way more important to that person than the importance that you personally would place on breaking a nail. It's kind of like that energy of you can't judge. We listen, we don't judge kind of thing. But you being very empathetic towards others, no matter how severe their issues may or may not seem to you. We listen, but we don't judge. If that's what is traumatizing that person today, take it as that. The emotions are the same, not the actual reality of what has happened. Like one person may have broken a leg and the other person has you're like, they just broke a nail. But like, maybe the person who broke a leg, they're, that's the worst thing that's ever, like, they're used to it because that's the same leg that they've broken 5 times already. And, they know the drill. To them, it's not really that big a deal. But then to the person who's broken that nail, it's a huge big thing. It's like it's the last straw kind of thing. I know they're very vastly different things, but it's kind of that energy of just reminder of sometimes you can't judge what is impactful to others just because it's not impactful to you personally. Very interesting. Very interesting that message is coming through. We have the lunar connection, firstly, for you, Virgo. Harmonize with the moon's energy. Its cycles can align you with natural rhythms. So there's something here about being aware of, I don't know whether it's you need to be aware of the tides, you need to be aware of a female cycle, or you need to be aware of the actual moon cycles for some reason. Coming through as a bit of a warning. There is multiple reasons that these things could be warnings. The obvious one I'll use as an example is the tides, right? If you're going fishing, you need to know the tides. So not only can you know when the best fish time to get the most fish, but also if you're putting yourself in precarious position and then all of a sudden the tide rises and all of a sudden you're stranded, that you're putting yourself at risk of harm because you didn't preemptively understand when the tides are. Okay, so there's something about the moon's energy, the moon's cycles at the moment. I am also picking up for some of you here, it's got to do with like the full moon and new moon cycles, and harmonizing with, knowing the difference between when's, the new moon is for manifestation, and setting those intentions and setting your goals. Whereas the full moon is more for, okay, cool, we need to release. And, that's when we do our shadow work and we release the old stuff that's no longer serving us, so that by the time we get to the new moon, we can set new intentions and work on our next lot of goals and that sort of thing. It's just kind of wanting to let you know that if you're, this is coming through as a warning, because it's like, there's just something not 100% right about the way that you're currently doing things, and you're making things harder on yourself, to be honest. I'm also getting just the connection here with the moon cycles and cutting your hair. You're wondering why your hair is not growing. If you're getting it cut and then, you're wondering why it never grows, it's because you're getting it cut on the wrong moon cycle. All right. I can't remember which way around it is. I think it's the new moon where you get your hair cut to inspire it to grow longer. And if you don't want your hair to grow very quickly, you would get it cut on a full moon. Okay, and things like that. So I'm not 100% on that one. So if that's something you're interested in learning about, Google it. I'm sure Google will have the answer. There's so many different things that can be affected here, but like going to appointments and things like that. But it's just something about the natural rhythms. There's just something just not working quite right for you at the moment, and needing to attune yourself, to the moon cycle, and check whereabouts in the moon cycle certain things are happening or not happening for you, and swapping around so that you're on a better cycle for your physiology. The enigmatic presence. Enigmatic presence. Your mystery is your strength. Don't be too quick to reveal all. So, holding your cards very tightly at the moment as well. Being a little bit of a mystery at the moment to people, not showing everybody all your cards basically, and not telling everybody every little thing and every little detail about yourself. Holding some of that to yourself at the moment. Your mystery is your strength. So the more that people look at you and go, oh, I wonder, oh, I don't know that about Virgo, the better at the moment. All right, don't give them Don't give them the answers, okay? Virgo, warning messages for our Virgos. Warning messages for our Virgos, please. Your mystery is in your strength. Here's the strength, okay? Your tower. This is, you know, your strength. It's coming through as your strength, and you know, your authority. It's kind of like your authority is a mystery. So just don't let people know too much about you, because at the moment they think that you have authority over them, even if you don't. So just allow them to believe that, is what I'm kind of getting with that, Virgo. You know, they're seeing your foundation as strong and stable, and you're a force all by yourself. You're, you know, this authority on whatever it is, and you know, if you open your mouth and start telling people, oh, I don't have no idea, I don't know what I'm talking about, oh, you break the mystery. So at the moment, the mystery is your strength. So stand tall and strong and firm, and embrace your mystery a little bit here. It really does stir things up for you at the moment. We have the stork here. Once again, we're getting phishing messages with the stork showing itself there. So something about stirring up it's stirring up the lunar cycles again. It's stirring up how you're connecting to the moon cycles. Stir that up and change that around, flip that around, and you will find new energy. You will move into better energy for yourself, finding new ideas on how to, you know, harmonize with the lunar cycles. So once again, that message doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but it may actually, you know, there may be a connection to you personally, because there's just something, you know, that is aligning with the moon cycles that is currently needs a flip. It needs to be flipped and stirred, and you know, put on the other side. So if something that you always do it at a full moon, do it at a new moon, and vice versa. Which reminds me, actually, somebody recently told me about, oh, so and so, they go hunting, and they were going hunting every full moon, and were wondering why they weren't catching much. And we said to them, oh, because you go every full moon, like, well, that's a lot brighter. Like, animals are going to be able to see. No, it was the opposite, because it was kangaroos out here in Australia. Kangaroos, they come out in the light way more. So they were saying go hunting on the full moon, because you will see more kangaroos out and about than what you do on a new moon. Because if you're going hunting on the new moon, it's like just pitch black, and they're not going to come out as much as what they do on a full moon. They stay out a lot longer at night, apparently. I'm definitely not a hunter, but we do see the key. So making this small change with the moon cycles, and finding new ideas on how to do things there, it really opens up new opportunities for success here for you, as well as, you know, success from your mystery. You know, keeping yourself mysterious is going to really lead to success for you. So allow yourself to be, you know, the authority without giving anything away. All right, about yourself there, Virgo. So that's what we have for you. Some of those messages were a bit a lot of messages for you today, Virgo, which is very interesting. But that's what we have. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements. You know, subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Libra. Okay, Libra, warning messages for Libra. What does Libra need to be warned about in order to prevent issue? The Fox's Grace. Move with elegance and poise. Grace under pressure is a mark of true strength. So being a little bit non-volatile, Libra, being elegant and mature, and you know, graceful under pressure. Okay, easier said than done sometimes. That kind of avoids impulsiveness a lot there, um, making sure we're making moves in a way that we can respect ourselves, and that we're not, being impulsive or emotional or volatile in any kind of a way, confrontational. We need to be very poised and in control of ourselves. We do also see the tricksters play, embracing the playful side of life. Humor and mischief can break down barriers. So, yeah, being very elegant and graceful, and using humor rather than confrontational energy, or I'm kind of getting the energy of what we're trying to avoid here is making anyone feel as though you are blaming them, because I'm just picking up this energy straight away of somebody making like a mistake that affects you this sort of week, and you needing to handle that in a very skillful way where you're not reacting to the mistake so much as laughing it off, and being very respectful with the way that you're handling it. um, I just feel as though, if you get angry and judgmental, and people may take it this week as blaming them, and they'll victimize themselves. That kind of energy is coming through. Whereas if you're being very graceful about how you're handling it, it pushes this person to take personal responsibility for the mistake or the thing, rather than them allowing them to victimize themselves in the situation. Okay, Libra, warning messages for our Libra, please. I'm loving the Lenormand messages this week. They're being very clear with me. I like that. We have straight away the fish and then the bear. So we are needing to have very strong boundaries around our financials at the moment. We're needing to, this is like not lending money, or having strict limits on what's happening when we're, dealing with money and others this week, especially anything to do with travel. Okay, we have the ship there as well. That does sort of feel like, financially needing to have very strong financial boundaries around, planning a trip, or, giving someone a lift to work kind of thing, and needing to have a strong boundary about, yeah, I don't mind driving you to work, but we need to make sure this and this and this, and, I'm getting some sort of financial reimbursement rather than just hoping for that. But once again, being very, respectful to the person in the way that you're doing that, using humor once again to, ease that situation, but still having strong boundary there, protecting your money basically this week, especially with anything to do with travel. So, not being taken advantage of with travel plans either, whether it be, somebody, organizing travel plans, or whether it be, a company that you're trying to book a hotel through, or, you're booking a holiday through some travel agent. You're needing to have very set boundaries about the financial aspect within that as well. All right, so that's what we've got for you today, Libra. You're more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Make sure you subscribe, and we will move on over to our Scorpios. Okay, Scorpio. What warning messages does Scorpio need in order to avoid issue? Warning messages for our Scorpios. Okay. The Fox's Grace. Act with dignity and composure. Grace is a reflection of inner strength. Okay, so we're needing to act very dignified and calm and respectful with things that we're dealing with, the way that we're dealing with things. Acting very, very strong, but also, dignified. I am getting the word dignified, like when you think of a dignified gentleman or a dignified person, what does that create imagery for you? Like we see people, wearing suits with standing tall and straight and firm and very graceful and mannered and polite, coming through there as well. The furtive gaze. Be cautious in your approach. A stealthy demeanor can keep you one step ahead. All right, so moving in the shadows a little bit at the moment, okay, as well, Scorpio. So being very dignified about the way that you are approaching things, but also, not broadcasting, because that, broadcasting our every movement is not necessarily a dignified way of dealing with things either. We don't need to ask for respect. We demand it with our composure. So that stealthy demeanor of, I don't need to tell you everything that I'm up to. You can look at me and see that I'm doing the right thing, kind of thing. You're the way that you're holding yourself at the moment seems to help you avoid a lot of trouble, and not broadcasting. I just keep getting not broadcasting all your moves at the moment. There's no need to tell everybody. There's no need to ask. I'm also picking up on that phrase. It's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask permission. I am getting that as well. So for some of you that may be relevant at the moment as well. That's part of that stealthiness. That I don't need to ask everyone, if it's okay for me to go and do this. I'm just going to do this, and if they take offense to it, I can, give them a dignified apology and ask for forgiveness later. So that's kind of coming through there as well. Scorpio, warning messages for our Scorpios. Warning messages for Scorpio. So I do see here there is a specific thing we are going to be avoiding this week, that we're being warned about this week. And once again, I'm getting that sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask permission, especially when our dreams and our wishes are involved. We have the stars coming through first. So, we need to be very positive-minded, optimistic, that it's going to be okay. I'm just going to do this and it's going to be fine. I don't think that this is anything, like, it doesn't feel like it's anything bad at all. It's just, like, I actually feel like it's quite the opposite. That because it kind of feels like what you're avoiding here by just doing it rather than asking for permission is you're avoiding somebody's jealousy. Like, it's kind of like, if Scorpio, if you get all your wishes and your dreams come true, and if you're moving in the shadows and you're not telling everyone what you're doing, and you're not, it's kind of, the example that's coming through here is like, I wish to go on a date with this person. And so I'm going to move in the shadows, and I'm going to go and, go directly to this person and ask them out on a date. I'm not going to go and ask anyone, oh, should I ask this person out on a date? I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to stand very confident and dignified in my own self that, I'm going to approach this person, ask them on a date. If they say no, that's a no, that's fine. We can move on. If they say yes, awesome. I can plan it with them, I don't need to be telling, Joe Blow down the road. I don't need to be telling coworkers. that I'm planning on asking this person for a date. I just kind of feel as though if you ask others or tell others, I plan on doing this, I plan on going for this wish, um, people will try to steal that wish from under your feet. It's kind of someone will try to pull the rug out from underneath you here, and they'll be like, oh well, did you know so and so has a crush on that same person? You shouldn't ask them out on a date because you'll be stepping on so and so's toes, and it just feels like unnecessary drama if you tell people or ask people. We do have the ring coming through here as well, so I do feel as though for a lot of you, this is a wish regarding a relationship of some description, or to improve a relationship, or to build a stronger relationship, or to start a relationship, or um, something along those lines for a lot of you there. But for others of you, it's asking you to, like look at the pattern in the stars, kind of thing. Like find the patterns in the stars, like and look at the cycles and the cycles and patterns of the stars and the movement of the stars somehow being important here as well, to avoid drama, conflict, trouble, tension, punishment, even for some of you there. But that's the potential thing that is going to occur if we act undignified and if we broadcast our movements. There will be drama, there will be a conflict, there will be a fight, an argument, that leads to a lot of tension and trouble for you. So when I say patterns and cycles, it's kind of like, what are the patterns that I've created in the past when I've gone for a wish fulfillment that I've gotten? What have I done? What's the pattern? What's the cycle I've or do I need to break that cycle and try something different if I want that wish to sort of come true? Like last time I asked someone out on a date, the pattern was that I did this and then this and then this, and I asked someone for advice, um, and then they actually told me all this other information that made me less confident, and then I was turned down because I wasn't confidently asking. I was so thinking about those things as well, because we're avoiding drama, we're avoiding conflict here, but I do feel for majority of you this is connected somehow to a relationship that you wish for, and in order to avoid conflict, we don't need to be broadcasting that to everybody. We need to be a little bit quieter in our approach, a bit stealthier in our approach, and acting very dignified. And the interesting thing is, because that same example keeps coming up of wanting to ask somebody on a date or something like that, the dignified approach is to confront that person directly, confidently, and ask them without expectation. So it's fine if they say no, but I want them to say yes, but it's also fine if they say no. That's very dignified to accept a no as well. All right, so I just feel as though that's a reflection of your inner strength, and that's how we avoid trouble for you this week, Scorpio. All right, so that's what we have for you. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Sagittarians. Sagittarius, looking at warning messages for you in order to avoid issues. Warning, Sagittarius. What can we warn Sagittarius about to avoid any potential negatives? The Fox's Tail. Utilizing your resources with wisdom. A well-managed asset is a powerful tool. Okay, so that talks about your financials primarily. It's talking about managing those assets. So making sure we are managing our financials. We're pre-planning, we're writing out costings, and we're making sure XYZ has got money, and this one needs that much money, and that bill needs this much money. We're managing that very well, so that we're not leaving ourselves short. We're really maximizing the resources that we do have at our disposal. So if you've, for example, I'm just kind of getting here that for some of you it's like, before you do your grocery shopping, going to the pantry and seeing, okay, I've got this and this and this. What can I buy in order to turn all those things into a meal, before I go and just buy, 20 other ingredients that I don't actually need, because I do already have them in the pantry. So making sure we're utilizing all our resources. This is a great week. I'm really picking up strongly on something like food connection here, where it is a really great week to go through the pantry and go, oh, I've got this that needs to be used. I've got this in the freezer that needs to, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? And utilizing the things that you do already have. I'm also picking up for some of you here, utilizing the resources that you already have, in the sense of, what skills do I already have? What's something I can do quite easily at no cost to myself in order to make some extra money? Those sorts of things, like, oh, I'm already really good at, writing professional letters. So, maybe I can offer my services to people that need help writing their resume, or things like that. Just random things like that are coming up. If I'm really good at utilizing my resources and working out what I've got, and how to make the best use of that, maybe I can actually, help somebody else do that as well. And that's a really strong tool for you this week to avoid problems. All right, because I do feel like for a couple of you, making plans, well laid plans, is coming through. Organization coming through very strongly this week, Sagittarius. We also have the Fox's Den. So straight away, I'm kind of going to tell you this is at your house, something to do with your house. Okay, so rather than going out and buying brand new products to build something in your garden, what do I already have around the house that I can use to do that? Create a safe haven for yourself. A place of retreat is essential for regaining strength. So I do feel as though it's a good week for you to stay home. Rather than going out partying or anything like that, creating a safe haven for yourself at home, utilizing those resources that you've already got. I've already got a house, I've already got a stereo. I can turn the music up and dance around my living room if I feel like going out dancing. Utilizing those resources and making the most of what you already have in your life, rather than going out and spending money on things that you kind of already have, if that's what I'm getting. Like, things like clothing as well, like going through your wardrobe and seeing what you've got and looking at it and going, oh, can I repurpose this item? If especially if you're like myself, you're a bit handy with sewing machine or whatever. What can I do with this item and make it a different kind of item that I can repurpose this thing. So repurposing things is very, very important here this week. But have a look with the Lenormand, okay. And I just kind of get this, that safe den of home this week is strong for you, Sagittarius. There's no need to go out and buy new. Have a look around the house first. You may already be surprised at what you've got. Sagittarius, morning messages for our Sagittarius. I just feel as like it's just coming through as money, to be honest. Yeah, so repurposing. Okay, we have the coffin here, which is transformative energy, repurposing energy. It does also talk about ending things, closing the lid on certain things that are no longer needed. So, using up those last jars that have got half a thing in them, using all those up before we go and buy new, because when something ends, we get a new beginning after the ending. So, go through all the jars. Oh yeah, I'll use the end of that jar, and then I can go and buy a new jar. We see the clouds, so thinking very thoroughly about things, very logically, rationally about things at the moment, in order to achieve our goals. Pretty straightforward. I do feel as though there is a specific money goal for a lot of you, that you're being warned that you won't achieve that if you don't sort of get on top of all the resources and repurposing and all those sorts of things that we've just talked about. But that's what we've got for you today, Sagittarius. You're more than welcome to check your other placements. Please subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Capricorns. Okay, Capricorn. Warning messages for our Capricorns so that we can avoid issues. What does Capricorn need to be warned about, please? The evasive maneuver. Know when to sidestep conflict. Evasion can be a strategic advantage. Okay, so this is like when I say let's avoid issues this week, Capricorn, we are quite literally avoiding and evading issues, sidestepping any issues. So I do feel as though you're going to see them around you, whether it be, somebody's behavior or something like that, and you're like, nope, I'm out of here. I see where this is going. I'm out. I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not letting myself be pulled into that drama. I'm going to evade that issue altogether. I see that you're starting to get a bit worked up about XYZ. We're moving on. We're going to go on to a different conversation. I'm not going to even touch on that. So you go, oh, okay, getting a bit close there. We're going to just move right over to something different instead. We're going to evade that altogether. So not allowing yourself to be dragged into issues. I feel like this is other people's stuff rather than your stuff, to be honest, Capricorn. We also see the Pathfinder's insight. Trust your instincts to find your way. The fox knows the path through the underbrush. Okay, so trusting your instinct. So once again, knowing when to sidestep that conflict. You're trusting your instinct. You're going, oh, I feel like this is going a bit crazy. I'm out of here. Oh, I feel my gut instinct is telling me that this is about to get wild. I'm out of here. Finding my way through the underbrush. I'm going to take off because, even if I have to slide on out of here, it just feels like very, very stealthily making your way like back. So you see that Homer Simpson backing your way into the bushes thing. That's you this week, Capricorn. That's the best way to be. Okay, I see someone's bringing up, a topic that I think is going to get a bit risky. I'm just going to back away from there. I'm in the bushes. You cannot see me. Capricorn. Warning messages for Capricorn, please. Warning messages for Capricorn, please. And I do feel like, if you don't back away, the people are going to try to drag you in. We have the Lily coming through first, which is a card of emotional vulnerability. Okay, so emotional intimacy. So it's kind of like that's probably a bit of a clue to us when we're going to know when to sidestep drama, is when things start getting a little bit real on an emotional level. So as soon as vulnerabilities start coming into play and you're kind of like, or if I continue on in this conversation, it's going to trigger me. I'm going to get set off, or that hits a little bit close to home, or I can see that someone's getting a little bit emotional and it's getting very sensitive on an emotional level, and I want to back away from that conversation. I don't want to trigger their emotions. That's probably what it's got to do with for a lot of you here. But I feel like your instincts are definitely taking you in the right direction, because we have the key coming through here next. So, you know, um, once again, it's kind of, someone opening up a little bit too much emotionally. That's probably your key to leave the scenario, and find other opportunities to, or other ways to, um, open up without getting involved, and things like that. So I just kind of feel as though you opening up emotionally may not be, maybe not the best thing here, because that's you getting sort of dragged into the situation, and it's going to trigger someone, whether that's you or somebody else here. It's finding other opportunities, going to other opportunities, other, you know, it's an opportunity to learn. It's learning how to be more successfully. Sometimes that it's better to evade the issue and allow it to just remain a mystery. To be honest, the book quite often does talk about mystery, but we do see, ultimately this is leading you to successful new chapters for yourself, and it does have an element here of learning and education, and kind of watching from a distance, because I'm kind of seeing that little Homer Simpson in the bushes, that little fox in the bushes, can still kind of see what's going on and observe, but is not actually getting triggered because they've evaded being involved, is what I'm kind of picking up on here. So long term, like evading this now brings you long term success, through learning how to deal with that. So I feel like for a lot of you, this is actually observing something happening with others, this week, and evading becoming involved personally in that conversation or those emotions or whatever. Trusting your instincts very strongly, in order to guide yourself, navigate the path away from that, and evade being drawn into that. It is going to ultimately teach you a few things, but also allow yourself to remain the mystery factor, the unknown factor that, well, no one knows what Capricorn thinks about that issue, because Capricorn didn't get involved. All right. So you're not, when the story is told about this happened and then that happened, Capricorn's name is not getting mentioned. All right. I just feel as though, we're avoiding longer term issues by evading it now, because, if we get dragged into that, it could fall on our shoulders longer term than right today and tomorrow. So that's what we have for you, Capricorn. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, warning messages for Aquarius, so they know how to avoid any issue. Warnings for Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to be warned about? That was half the deck, Aquarius. Aquarius, what does Aquarius need to be warned about? The subtle influence. Guiding somebody gently through the power of suggestion, Aquarius, rather than directly telling them, do this, do that. Make an impact without force. Gentle persuasion can be more powerful than confrontation. So definitely needing to avoid confrontation. It's kind of like leading somebody to the right answer in a way that they think they found that answer themselves. But that you pretty much, you knew the answer and you were just trying to guide them to the right answer. Like for example, just as a stupid example here, like you're helping somebody with their math homework, and the question is, what is 2 plus 2? And this person is like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's 5. And you're like, oh, well, maybe if you just want to double check, and do the working out just to make sure you've got it correctly. And then, you're not directly saying, oh, you're wrong, it's 4. You're not saying it directly. You're not confronting them, oh, it's 4. You're gently guiding them to find the answer for themselves, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, all right, now I'm doing the working out. Oh yeah, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's 4. I know that that's a really dumb example, but it was an example, okay, guys? The clever escape. Know when to retreat. Sometimes the wisest move is to save your energy for another day. So, what's that song that's coming through? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Um, I can't even. I don't know if that's right, but it's like it's talking about like your cards. When you've got your cards, like your, I don't know, I'm not a gambler, so I like poker cards, I suppose. But so you got to know when to hold the cards that you've got. You got to know when to go fold. I fold, and then you've got to know when to put your money down or whatever. Sometimes you got to know when to retreat. Sometimes, oh, I think now is a good time to back off. I'm just going to back off. That person's getting a little bit heavy. I'm going to back off. I'm just going to back off. Sometimes that's the wisest move, because it's kind of that energy of sometimes it's better to lose the fight in order to win the war. So I feel like this is one of those scenarios at the moment where you're just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, if that's what you think, cool, 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 I'm out. If that's what yep, cool. Let them believe what they want to believe. Your energy, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Standing there and arguing the point with this person is not going to win anything for either of you, all right? And that's where that subtle influence comes into it as well, because it's kind of like, okay, cool. If that's what you want to believe, cool. That's what you do. You back out. If your subtle influence is not working and you're like, oh, well, maybe you should do the working out. And they're like, oh, no, it's definitely 5. It's 5. It's 5. It's 5. Okay, cool. If you want to put that answer, that's up to you. Cool. It's not, I'm just going to go over here and do this. You obviously don't need my help, I am getting a little bit of smart ass energy coming through off you, Aquarius, not going to lie. But it's just not worth your energy sometimes. So, use subtle persuasion, no confrontation, and then, know when to leave the situation altogether when necessary. Aquarius. Warning messages for Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to be warned about, please? And I'm not going to lie, I just feel like this week, this is going to have something to do with you kind of feeling like you are dealing with somebody dumb. Yeah, so don't tell them that they're dumb. That's confrontation. It's not going to be the best way to deal with that. It's going to be like some sort of unexpected struggle. We have the scythe followed by the mountain here, so we do see some sort of unexpected change, and the change is there's this giant blockage, this obstacle, this delay, and that's sort of, for a lot of you, it just comes out of nowhere. You were not expecting this obstacle, this delay, but it's an emotional obstacle or delay. All right, it's a blockage. Someone has a blockage emotionally, and they're just not willing to hear anything other than what they believe. It seems like somebody very set in their ways kind of energy, and they're just not willing to budge. There's no movement with the mountain. It's not willing to budge. So once again, that's kind of referencing that clever escape. Once again, you're just cutting your losses and backing off, because you can see that they've just got so many emotions, and they're not budging on how they feel, because it's like they're just so solid in, this is how it makes me feel, and they're not even willing to look at other aspects of the situation. That's their ish, not yours. It's sometimes it's better to save your energy, for another day. All right, win the war, not this little fight. This little fight is nothing. It's just some dumb fight, to be honest. It does feel like I just keep getting the word dumb coming through. Like I feel as though, not going to lie, Aquarius, I do feel like you are going to be a little bit judgmental of this situation, because you're going to be like looking at this person as though they are like, do you have bricks in your head? Like, the answer is obvious, and to you it is, but to this person, they're just so stuck on this that they just cannot see the forest for the trees. All right, so it's not necessarily that they're dumb. It's just, you know, sometimes intelligence levels does not always equal common sense, and that kind of feels like what this is, to be honest. Like, they may be the smartest person in the room, but for some reason their common sense is telling them this, and they're just getting very stuck on it. And you know, you're coming in with intelligence and common sense, and you're just like, really? You need to be like, okay, I'm out, to be honest, to avoid drama. All right. So that's what, to save your energy, you know, because if you try to argue with, that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be an argument and an argument, and they're still not going to change their opinion. They're still going to be believing the wrong, dumb thing. And that's their mistake to make, not yours. Okay, Aquarius. So that's what we have for you. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Pisces. Okay, Pisces. Pisces, warning messages for Pisces so that we can avoid trouble. Avoiding any issues. Warning messages for Pisces, please. I've heard that first one for a few people this week. We have the Fox's Tail. Utilize your resources with wisdom. A well-managed asset is a powerful tool. Like I said, we have had this card for a couple of signs this week, Pisces, but for you, it's actually reading a little bit differently, because it is asking me straight away to read this next card out and then discuss. All right, so we have the Sly Observer. Watch and learn from the shadows. A keen eye can spot opportunities that others miss. Okay, so this is interesting, because utilize your resources with wisdom. A well-managed asset is a powerful tool. But the tool that you're using as an asset at the moment is observation, watching, moving in the shadows. I just love that phrase, moving in the shadows, because it's you know, Charlotte Dobre. If any of the potato girls out there know, or kings, but watching and learning. So it's kind of like you watch someone else make a mistake, so that you learn not to make that mistake. And that is a powerful tool in itself. That, you know, do you know what? You didn't have to waste any time or energy or effort on that thing, because you're not the one that you observe someone else do that. So, you know, when you go ahead and do that, you do it right the first time, kind of thing, because you've already learnt how to do it properly from seeing somebody else making mistakes doing that. I am also seeing here, for some of you, this is actually like literally observing somebody do something. You know, a keen eye can spot opportunities that others miss. I'm getting some weird references here, because I'm getting that you're like standing back and watching, and it's like you're seeing how to like, I'm getting a money reference coming through here, and you're seeing how to, like, it's not very, like, I'm getting mixed things here. I don't know whether I'm seeing a like, I'm seeing something like it's some sort of machine, but it's like I don't know whether it's a like a poker machine or whether it's like a checkout cash type machine, some sort of machine like that. Um, some a machine that's connected to money in some kind of a way. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's one of those like a coin dozer machine type thing. Like I don't know about other countries, but here in Australia we have like Time Zone, which is like an arcade where we go and there's all different, there's skill testers where you can get the plush toys and they've got these ones called coin dozers where it's like stacks of coins and you have to like drop something so then it pushes something and then you know it's like a strategy type thing, but you've got to like drop something in the right spot so that it pushes the right thing that then pushes the right thing into the collecting thing where you collect the money that you won or whatever. I think I'm seeing that. And you're seeing an opportunity that somebody else missed and you're like watching and observing, and then it's like you're saying to yourself, I can do that because I've just watched and seen and learnt all I've watched someone put $10 into the machine and I saw them lose badly, lose the whole $10. But I'm like, now that I've watched and observed how it's working and the trick to it, I feel like if I put in $10, I can get the thing. So it may not even be like it because I'm just seeing Time Zone in general now, which is so it's like it might even be like a skill tester where you're like, oh, if I drop that plushie onto this plushie, it'll knock that one into the collect. So it's something like that. It's something random like that. Um, so your resources at the moment though are observation and watching and learning from others. Watching other, it's literally watching other people's mistakes. But I am feeling it's like you're seeing like, oh, somebody had the opportunity to. It's like you're seeing how to take advantage of a good deal at a shop or something, but because you're watching someone else go through the process of trying to take advantage of that deal, and they mess it up, and then you're coming along and going, oh well, I've got the same deal thing, like because I know in America you guys have like coupons. It could be something like that for some of you where it's like you see somebody mess it up and you're like you watch and learn, or you're watching someone use their coupons and then it makes you learn how to use those coupons to get the most benefit for yourself. um, and then you actually you kind of like I keep getting you win big somehow from this. It's an opportunity that others miss because you have actually spent the time observing and learning how to do it properly, rather than just trying straight away and making a mistake. um, Pisces, warning messages for Pisces. So yeah, so don't just jump in and use your thing straight away. Don't jump in and go for the thing straight away. Sit back and watch for a little bit first. Okay, warning messages for Pisces. And also here, there's something here about because we have the tower coming through first, which is coming through as solitude and isolation. So I'm kind of seeing that as you just standing there and observing by yourself. You're isolating yourself from them. Okay, so you're not jumping in and saying, oh, try this. You're not jumping in and saying, oh, try that. You're not allowing yourself to be involved with them, and they're not being involved with you. You're sort of separating and just observing. We also have the lily. So it's kind of like the the lily is very muchly about emotional intimacy as well. So it's kind of like you're watching this person and their emotions are impacting the thing as well. And so you're watching them get very emotional, and then that's having a longer term effect by, making them make more mistakes and things like that. So that's part of what you're observing, is the emotional component as well, and the longer term component as well. So you're like, okay, well, for example, on a skill tester, if you're watching someone play a skill tester and they're, putting a lot of money into it, you're like, okay, so I don't, I think this might, I don't know if I'm like, this is a legit thing, because all are different and they all have different settings and stuff. But sometimes you can actually sit back and watch the patterns, right? And you can actually watch, and it's like a certain amount of, every certain amount of times, the claw tightens stronger than it does every other time. So the tension is full. And I think, because I was watching one day and it was like every 11th turn was a really strong grab, and the other 10 were, soft grabs. You know how they grab the toy and then drop it. They're not strong enough to pick it up, kind of thing. Or they'll pick it up, but then it'll only just move it a little bit and drop it again. But every 11th go was strong and would hold it. And then, so, if you watch that machine and then you see someone and they go through and then they get to the strong one and they drop it again. And if you're standing there counting, okay, so now we need 10 more. So then you watch 10 more people you watch like 10 more goes be had. And then you jump in and do the 11th one, and you're watching what's been set up, or okay, well, there's two grabs before the strong one, so I'll use those two grabs to set it up so that I can get to the toy that I want, and then you use the 11th grab to grab the one, and you win it that way because you've timed it and you've watched the patterns. It's kind of like observing a little bit longer term, and observing what's happening with them, because you're up here in that tower, which is like a watchtower. So you're really like watching them longer term, and watching their emotions as well. The emotional component does seem to be a little bit important here too, as well. So I don't know what this is about. Like I said, I just keep getting random references, like the game stuff, like the toys and the, unless that's something that you're into this week, but this is like warnings of don't just jump straight into it. Make sure we do step back and observe for a longer period of time than we maybe want to, because even make sure we're observing, because before we just jump on in and do it. Because if we just jump on in, we might not succeed. Whereas if we sit back and just observe and just observe and just observe someone else do it, you see all the mistakes that they make, and then you learn from all those. All right, and that's what we've got for you. All right, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel. You're more than welcome to check your other placements as well, Pisces. Leave me a comment. Let me know if there's any other topics you'd like me to look into specifically. We will be doing the monthly readings for May next week, so definitely keep an eye out for those. And I will see you guys then.